Hello, I'm Reg from DM North, and this is my attempt at a turn 2 monstrosity build. Earlier this week, we had a video published from the WDA from Ross, where he tried to do a turn 2 monstrosity um, using Atlantis and some other stuff, and he was almost successful up to the 13-minute mark, but he did a very good attempt, and I'm sure he will figure it out and get it to work eventually. So later on this week, we had a video by Peter VDV where he posted a video doing a turn 2 kill on going first, and he also, I think he depended on the opponent having certain cards. So this is my video on trying to one up that by saying here's how you can do a turn 2 monstrosity build, going first and only being dependent on the 10 cards that you bring. So I don't have my on the left side over here showing my card build. I will have that during the live play, but I'm going to actually go through the cards that I will need for this build when we as we play. So the first thing I'll do is, of course, I'm going to be going first. So one die would go into transition. Now I'm actually just going to walk through the video here. I'm going to try to do some live play after where I'm actually going to try to roll it naturally. So this would be my first roll. So going first, one in transition, and I would have a roll of any combination. Question marks can be in there, but I need to have 2 mass, 1 shield. So that would be an optimal roll for me. And the first card that I would have on my team would be my first basic action, and that is Resurrection. So Resurrection is for prep, and it says pay a shield once per turn. On your turn, draw a die from your bag and prep it. So of course, I would use the shield, and that would allow me to prep a die from my prep area or my bag. So I now have 3 in my bag and 2 in the transition zone with 2 mass left. So doing a turn 2 kill seems hard to not buy anything the first turn, but actually at the end of my turn, I would actually pass. So now it's my opponent's turn. This build is based on my opponent not having any sidekicks. When my opponent goes, of course, I'm going to be using the Professor X Trainer Global, and that has a global of pay a mask, move up to 2 psychic dice from your use pile to your prep area. So let's assume my opponent buys either a 2 cost, a 3 cost, a 4 cost, maybe keeps a mask for his own PX gene, but my opponent does not feel the sidekick. And that's what this is dependent on. Most likely they wouldn't feel the sidekick, but let's say they maybe when they see that, hey, you're doing a turn 2 kill, they might feel the sidekick. But when he passes priority back to me, I would pay a mask, and that allows me to prep over 2 dice from my use pile over to my prep area. And then, of course, I would PXG one more time where I would take that last die and bring it over. So that would allow me to have 4 dice now in my prep area. 1 is going to be sitting in my used, and that is I'd pass back priority, and that would be the end of my turn 1. So my opponent, again, if they bought something, whatever they want to do, doesn't matter as long as they don't have a sidekick. The other thing it depends on is they can't have static field. Of course, if I'm going to be attacking with turn 2, I wouldn't be able to have a blocker that would stop me from doing my full push here. So, of course, if they did, I would just have to use one of the other tools I have on this team, and it would be a turn 3. But in order for me to turn 2, I need my opponent not to have any sidekicks and no blink back globals. So now it would be my turn. I would actually have 3 dice that I would have from my bag I'd pull out. And then, of course, the die from my use pile I'd put over here. So I'd be rolling 8 dice. So at this point, my next card I show, which is the Black Lantern Superman, that has a global once per turn. After you re-roll, if you have at least one of each energy type in your reserve pool, you gain 1 extra energy. So at that point, I would roll this. Now, in case anyone questions saying that you need a question mark as your extra energy, then I would, let's say, roll that. That would be acting as a bolt right now. So at this point, I would roll that. I have a bolt, a fist, a mask, and a shield. So that would allow me to gain 1 extra energy after my reroll step. So let's say I roll that. I would now be able to buy my 1 character I need. So for that, I need the Ring of Winter. And Ring of Winter has pay a bolt once per turn. The next die you purchase that costs 6 or more will cost 2 less. So at this point, let's see I have a card that's a 6. It's now down to a 4 cost to purchase. So that's using Ring of Winter. The next card I have on my team is a Kree Captain. Any of the globals are fine, or any of the cards are fine. It's pay double fist once per turn. The next character die you purchase this turn costs 3 less. So this would be the, actually I'll say, this will be the bolt that I use to use the Ring Winter. And then I'm going to use 2 fists to use the Kree Captain Global. That would reduce the cost down by 3. So it would now cost me 1 for a 6 cost. And at that point, that's when I'm going to go ahead and pick up my, for 1 fist, I would pay, and I would buy a Fix-It. So at that point now, I have a Fix-It sitting in the use pile. 4 dice are in transition. I'm actually going to put this bolt here to show that I have bolts. And now it's I've got 1 energy, 4 sitting in the reserve pool. So my next card I need to do is I'm going to use Clayface. He has a global of pay a mask once per turn. You may take a die from your use pile and add it to your reserve pool in any energy phase. So I would pay a mask. The only die I have in my use pile is a Fix-It. I would bring him over on his double fist side. So now I have 6 total energy, 2 fists, a shield, 2 bolts, and a generic. The next card I'd have is the Parallax. Parallax I'm also using for global, which is use 1, reroll any number of dice before your attack step. So of course I'm going to pay the 1 generic energy, and at that point I would choose to reroll my Fix-It die, and I'm going to roll it. Let's say it came up. It can come up on its level 2 or level 3 side here. So level 2 side is a 277, level 3 side is a 388. So at this point now, let's say I rolled him on his level 3 side. So he's a 388 and I have 3 energy left. So at this point I could pay the 3 field and hit for 8, but I said I want to get even more monstrosity into this. So I have 2 spots left to my team, 1 basic action and 1 character card. That's where I will use my Reboot Guilliman. He has a global, says pay a shield. The first character die you field this turn is fielding for free. So I would use the shield. And at that point, I would be able to field either a level 2 or a level 3. Fix-It, 7/7 side or an 8/8 side. At that point now, I have 1 basic action left. Pretty sure with Fix-It teams, you know what it is. And that would be the Magic Missile. Magic Missile has a global, pay a bolt, deal 1 damage to target character die. I would pay a bolt, and I would either ping my 8/8 Fix-It to become a 16/7, or if it was a 7/7, it would become a 14/6. And then I would do it again, and my Fix-It would either be a 21/5, or he'd become a 24/6. And at that point, again, if my opponent doesn't have anything to blink it back or sidekicks, I would push, and that would be for the win. So that's my that's the build I have. It's actually a pretty cool build. Again, I think it's very hard to naturally roll it, but it is possible. So you can do this. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do some live play here and see if I can try to roll it or simulate that I roll it. Hopefully I can do it before 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But I think it's going to take me about 4 or 5 tries, I think, when I first tested before I did this video. So we'll see if I can do it naturally. So thanks for watching. If you guys can come up with any other turn 2 monstrosities, I'm pretty sure the community would like to see anything you can do. So thanks for watching.
You can do it! You can do it! You can do it! You can do it!
You can do it.
You can do it! 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 You can do it!
Welcome back, everyone. This is my attempt at actually trying to roll a turn 2 monstrosity. Don't know how many takes it's going to do this actually, but I'm just going to leave it go and hope I can roll it. So I said I have to go first. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a die into my transition zone, and I roll 3 dice. Well, so far it's actually pretty good. So the first roll I have myself, there's the mask I need. This would actually be a second mask because I rolled a shield. So as I said on my first turn, I'm not doing much except prepping 1 die and PXGing twice. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, where I'm going to resurrect a die into my prep area, and then I would end turn. So I'm assuming my opponent purchased let's say a 4 or a 2 cost or a 3 cost character and kept a mask for PXG because they saw I have it. So at that point, they'd pass priority to me. These dice are in the used. I would PXG once, and then I would PXG 1 die over. So at that point now I've ended the first turn is over. I have 4 dice sitting in prep, 1 die unused, and 3 in my bag. So we're going to go ahead and do the start of my second turn, which will be the final turn hopefully. I'm going to go ahead and pull 3 dice, from my bag, and the 1 from use comes over. So I'm now rolling 8 dice. All right, we're back. This is turn 2 that I would be doing. And so the first turn, I basically prepped 8 dice using the Resurrection and just PXGing. My opponent, we're going to say, went and purchased something at 3 cost or 4 cost or maybe a 3 cost and has a mask waiting to PXG, seeing that I did a full ramp. So I'm going to go ahead and roll these 8 dice. I'm looking for 3 bolts, 3 fists, a mask, and a shield. Now I am assuming my opponent does have Intellect Devourer, which would spin down a Psychic to any face, and I'm going to say they have Yarnborn to spin down to a fist. I'm going to try to naturally roll it, but we'll see. So as we see on this roll, I think I have everything I would need, except I have too many masks. So I'm going to go for a roll and see if I can do it. Those question marks are going to help. I'm going to roll the Psychic and try to naturally roll this. Roll those 2 again. And I actually think I have it. So there is actually naturally rolled what I need. So that was the second roll. As you see, I have 1 bolt, 2 bolts. I'll use a question mark as a bolt. I have the shield I need. I have the mask that I need. And this fist and those 2 question marks would become my fist that I need. So at this point, I now have a bolt, a shield, a mask, and a fist. That would allow me to use the global from Black Lantern Superman to gain me 1 extra energy. So at this point now, I would go ahead and use the Ring of Winter Global, which would turn a 6 cost down to a 4 cost. Pay the 2 fists, which would create Captain Global, which would lower it down to a 1 cost. Pay a fist, and I would purchase the Fix It die. So Fix It goes to used. At this point now, I will use a mask to do the Clayface, to Clayface over my Fix It to an energy side. So at this point now, I have 3 energy left, a shield, a bolt, and this is considered a bolt, I said. So I'll actually just switch it out to show that it is a bolt here. So it was a question mark, which will be a bolt anyways. So at this point now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pay the 1 to use Parallax. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up my Fix It die. Hopefully I can roll it on level 2 or level 3. So there is a Fix It just rolled. He's on his level 3 side. He's a 388. So high fielding cost, but again, I can get around that with the pay and a shield for the Reboot Gulliman Global, which will allow me to field a character, the first character, for free. So Fix It now comes out on his 8-8 side. And you can see I can just simply ping once, ping twice, and now my Fix It became a 24-6 that I would be able to push and do 1 turn kill. So turn 2 kill, sorry, won't call it 1 turn kill, it's 2 turn kill. So there it is, I did it, it did roll. Didn't do too many takes for it. I think actually I rolled it from natural rolling here, and it took 5 tries to do it. But I didn't use any of the globals during this one, so that was pretty cool to see. Hope you liked that video. And of course, if you can come up with a turn 2 monster, I'm sure everyone's going to want to see it. So this card, I think it's not global escalation legal because Fix It got banned, but every other card has a global on it basically. So I don't know, I'm trying to play around with the Thanos to see if I can get him to do something similar to this, but this is the only one I've come up with so far. And yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. To Parallax. So sorry, I did that wrong. Fuck. Fuck the fuck, 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 fuck. Fuck. Fuck the fuck, 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 fuck.